and Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Dr. Wahab Shittu, is in the studios with us this afternoon to shed some more light on how he perceives the problem to be dealt with. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to Newstrack. You said in your statement that there is an existential threat against Nigeria.
Yes.
You're taking it very seriously.
Yes, I don't think any Nigerian, any patriotic Nigerian, should share what is going on. Because I've read comments in the social media of some people trying to provide some justification for the US contemplated action. I think this is the time for us as Nigerians to unite around the leadership to ensure that this does not happen. You have to draw lessons from what has happened in Libya, what has happened in Syria, Gaza, and some other areas like that. The level of destruction that can occur is unimaginable. So I do not want the Nigerian authorities to take this US president's threat lightly. We should take it very seriously, very, very seriously. And then we should also not employ combative approach. We know the strength of the US and in global affairs. We know the strength of their military. So I think what we should do is to embrace quiet, strategic, proactive diplomacy. Nigeria, and I've read the comment of the president. Very good. But it does not
reaction to his...
It does not go far enough. I think the president should also provide detailed particulars to say that this so-called attacks on Christians. It's not Christians alone that are subject to attack, even by the Boko Haram insurgents. If you look at what's going on in the north, all categories of people are under attack. Muslims, Christians, and all categories of Nigeria.
So that statement from the president should have been more detailed?
More detailed. But it can also go beyond that.
Okay.
Because I'm asking for a diplomatic action. You have the US ambassador. He can be summoned and briefed to Nigeria. And then we should also enlist the cooperation of the ECOWAS, cooperation of the AU, cooperation of the Commonwealth, cooperation of the UN Security Council,
right,
cooperation of the UN Secretary General, and very, very credible opinion leaders around the world to forestall what is like. So a strategic and deliberate, diplomatic action ought to be taken. Again, across bilateral levels, multilateral levels. And I'm also looking for a strategic cooperation approach that will, say, like a joint US-Nigerian mission to come and evaluate what is going on. Through statistics. You cannot afford a possible or a probable US military action against Nigeria. And so the emphasis now should be security, security, security. Beyond that, we should put our house in order.
Which begs the question, yes, do you think that the US president's threat exposes Nigeria's security agencies to claims of failure of their constitutional duty to protect citizens?
No, I don't think any state in Nigeria will say the military has been docile. No. For nearly 10, 15, 12 years now, the military has been deployed repeatedly to all these areas. But are these efforts enough? You can say they are not enough. We need to do more. A lot of soldiers at the level of the military have lost their lives, trying to combat this insurgency. There's also an element of compromise by some of the, in these operations. So I think right now is for us to be much more, cohesive.
Genocide is a strong word. It's a systematic elimination, yes, of a group or a people by another for a specific cause.
We all know that is not
Dr.
true.
Shittu, do you believe that the way it's used in this case is accurate?
No.
Is there genocide?
It's certainly not accurate.
In Nigeria?
No, there's no genocide in Nigeria. Yes, elements in Nigeria across ethnicities, across religions, are exposed to attack, particularly in the northeast. But not like targeting Christians like that for attacks.
But the frequency of the attacks and the frequency of the number of victims who happen to be Christians.
No. The kind of casualties being suffered
including the Muslims.
Yes, including Muslims. It's high, yes. It's not Christians alone. We don't. And then we look at, or to say, in Nigeria, it's too general an approach. If you look at the southwest, southeast, and some other places, there's no such complaints. And then even in the north, both Christians and Muslims are subject to attack. And the government is making efforts to combat, but these efforts are not enough. But the most important thing is for government today to embrace the deliberate domestic communication and unity. Nigerians will unite. This is not the time to play politics with what is going on. Okay. Unite around the president, unite around the ruling elite across, religion, across ethnicities, across, levels of government, to see that this is a existential, threat against Nigeria. And then we should engage in we should be speaking the language of peace, the language of communication, the language of proactive, diplomacy.
There'll be more after the break. We want to take a quick break, then we'll come back and continue our conversation.
Thank you very much.
When we come back, Dr. Wahab Shittu continues his thoughts on the allegations of genocide in Nigeria and the action of the U.S. president that he has threatened to take when we return. Welcome back. You're watching News Track on Channels Television. Speaking on President Donald Trump threatening military action over allegations of genocide against Christians in Nigeria is Dr. Wahab Shittu, a senior advocate of Nigeria. Dr. Shittu, this started in some cases as a social media whirlstorm where post after post seemed to have generated the viral nature of the news reporting concerning this matter. But now it has come to the attention of the U.S. president. Do you think perhaps that Nigeria didn't take this particular security concern seriously enough, or did not communicate enough to the people and to the world on what is happening exactly pertaining to the killing of Christians in Nigeria?
I think I would rather subscribe to the latter, thesis, that those who have not put in place our position sufficiently enough to the worst. There's absence of deliberate communication, policy, and to actually tell the world what is actually happening. Not that we have some challenges, but it's not as exaggerated, amplified, and overblown as it is being made to appear. And I think Nigerians too should be careful what we say, what we share, what we post, and how we portray this country. We have no country other than this. And if war breaks out...
In most cases, it was non-Nigerians that were posting these reactions to the killings. No, non-Nigerians. It started a whole lot from outside. White people...
The government institutions should strengthen domestic communication and unity.
Okay, what is the legal standing of a U.S. threat of military action against a sovereign nation like Nigeria under international law?
Well, under international law, there's no way the U.S. president can unilaterally declare war against Nigeria without the support of Congress, of U.S. Congress. Again, you also have to know the...
Or take a military strike. It's a strike.
It's a military strike, yes. The United Nations Charter, particularly Article 2, recognizing sovereignty of nations, and that nothing should be done, to threaten, the sovereignty. But most times, some of these, principles are theories on paper. We should not go by that. I think we should be proactive. We should engage Mr. Trump. Our president should engage frontally Mr. Trump. Key government ministers, officials should be out on diplomatic shuttle. Right now, they should not be sitting in the comfort of the offices. There should be a proactive approach. Meet opinion leaders who can, talk and engage with the U.S. president. We cannot afford this war. Nigeria cannot afford it. The casualties will be unimaginable. And no one is safe when there's a war. So, and I think they can talk to the U.S. president. They can engage the U.S. president.
Do you think it'll degenerate as far as to become war?
It can degenerate to anything. The Asura Rock should not take what is going on lightly. They should enlist the support of ECOWAS, enlist the support of the African Union, enlist the support of the Commonwealth, enlist the support of the United Nations, enlist the support of prominent world leaders who could reach out
so
to the US
a conciliatory approach.
Yeah, a conciliatory approach is what it's. I don't want to see President Trump. I don't want to believe that President Trump is talking without meaning what he's saying. Because nobody should say that this is just an empty threat. It's not. He can walk the talk, and I think we should prevent him, from launching war against Nigeria.
What are the specific legal and economic implications of Nigeria being designated a country of particular concern?
Well, it can affect the inflow of direct foreign investment. It can also strengthen, strengthen relationship between the U.S. and Nigeria. And all of that indices aid can be suspended. A lot of things can happen. But we don't want all those consequences on Nigeria. And the leadership must be proactive. Our president must take the lead.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, you think, will have a lot to do?
A lot of role to play. And I think our embassies ought to be strengthened. Now we should have ambassadors all over the place to be able to, project Nigeria much more effectively in the international arena.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. What immediate steps can the Attorney General and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs take in this matter?
Well,
they seem kind of silent.
I've said so before. Immediate steps is the language of proactive engagement. Proactive. Let's take our case to the U.S. authorities. Now with data, with statistics, with efforts that the Nigerian government is making over the year, with the number of casualties recorded in an attempt to combat whatever threats we have. There are statistics. They are available to the Nigerian authorities. Those statistics must be, and then there should be US-Nigeria joint missions to evaluate what is going on. The language that we should speak down is the language of quiet diplomacy, proactive diplomacy, constructive engagement. And then we take our case to the relevant, to the European Union and the U.S. authorities. This is our case. Nigeria, there's no a case of genocide against Christians has been portrayed. A lot of Nigerians across, ethnicities across may have been exposed to some level of threats. And it cuts across. In my family, for instance, we have Muslims and Christian elements in my own family. And that's like that in Nigeria. And yet it's too unified as a country that you have all kinds of elements. I wouldn't be happy seeing any of my Christian brothers, being exposed to attack. And that's the narrative. That's the narrative everywhere in the country. Nigeria is unified. There's no such divisions that's been portrayed. Maybe Christians are being, singled out for attack. No, certainly that is not correct. If you say there's some form of threat in Nigeria, yes. The Boko Haram insurgency ought to have been eliminated a long time ago. Yes, with much more, deployment of resources and then, serious-minded purpose. Yes. Is government making efforts? Yes, some efforts. Are those efforts enough? Not enough. But to say there's a case of genocide in Nigeria is uncharitable. And to say that what President Trump is saying is just empty threat is also not addressing the issue.
Which leads to my next question to you, Dr. Wahab. Does accepting the threat as viable implicitly erode Nigeria's sovereignty in any way?
Does accepting the threat?
Yes.
No,
the U.S., the world's policemen, they know there's no legal leg to stand on.
Yes.
As far as the United Nations Charter is concerned, to conduct any strike in another country. But it's been known to be done, and it's been done over and again.
Yes.
So do you ignore them?
No.
Or take them seriously?
I think we should take them seriously. We should take them very, very seriously. If you ask me, we should take them very, very seriously and then deploy diplomacy in order to confront the challenge. And the time to do that is now. Don't wait till the next hour. Because a threat to any part of the country is a threat against the corporate existence of Nigeria. And we must remain united. United we stand, divided we fall.
That's a good way to put it. Thank you so much, Dr. Wahab Shittu, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, for coming on News Track. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.